Hey, what's up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, finally starting my Bad Batch episode or season two reviews. So, obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of catch up, but we will be doing them one at a time. Uh, so, here we go. So, from what I heard, episode one and two did release when they came out together. I kind of can see why, having seen episode one. I will be watching episode two right after this, and hopefully be posting the review at the closest to the same time I'm posting this one, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, we're going to be just doing one at a time here. So this is just focusing on episode one. I've not seen episode two yet. So what did I think? To be honest, this ended up being a bit better than I thought it was going to be. It still had some of the mistakes that I found kind of grating on with the first season, but not as much so. Like I still think Omega kind of the is portrayed as like a little bit more more awesome than she deserves to be. But at the same time, this is the first episode, and it's and there is time. You can tell time has passed. Her hair's a little bit longer. She does look a little bit older, but we don't know how much time has passed. Uh, Imagine a few things, a little bit of time, because apparently they've still been doing missions all this time. So who knows? What did I think of all the scenes, the locations? I absolutely loved it. The first planet they're out, it's this beautiful lagoon that's occupied by these like crab people. And yes, I will say people because I mean for giant crabs, they are actually really smart when it comes to dodging laser blasters and keeping themselves safe while at the same time pursuing and actually like coordinating attack on the ship to the team that took whatever package they were looking for. We don't know. We never know. So that was kind of cool. I did appreciate that. There was a point though at that point where um, Omega does get knocked from the ship, and she is wearing no gloves, and this is a rope. This is just a regular rope, and she slides down this thing on her hands. Like her hands should be stripped of all flesh, like with that. Like, but yeah, I don't know. That is incredibly like a fairly large overlook in terms of like how physics work. So and then her weapon has kind of grown on me. She does seem more competent. She's not making as much mistakes, though she is still essentially a child. So I do enjoy that. That it does establish that she is more competent. You know, she's learning about Imperial ships. She is studying, so she is essentially part of the crew. So I do like that. Gosh, I'm going into a breakdown. I need a anyway. Um, so anyway, the episode itself, there I do like the sort of change of tone. You know, in the first one, it was like all these missions, side missions, and it kind of got old for me. Kind of just like, why are you guys doing this? It seems kind of pointless. But then there's a talk between Hunter and Echo, you know, about we should be doing more and we'll be able to do more. I know you want to keep her safe, but I mean, she's never going to be safe. So I did like how we went from like the team is kind of starting to get that they can't just run, hide, or just do missions to make money, whatever. They need to actually go out and do something, you know, with all these other people who are like starting elements of the rebellion. Um, and I loved Dooku's palace. Like seeing that place again after uh, Clone Wars, and then let alone like having seen everything about Dooku, like seeing him in a whole new light with regards to Tales of the Jedi. Just such a complex, in many ways, tragic character. Um, but yeah, like seeing his whole palace there was amazing. And then that essentially they need to get his war chest, and it's I love the comedy that they have. There's a few other things that like didn't quite work. Like at some point there is an explosion that should have killed a couple of troopers. It did not. They immediately got up, and I'm just like, that was either a weak explosion or once again they're overlooking how physics actually works. Uh, but anyway, um, yeah, I love the action. There is some good action here, to be honest, which I really enjoyed. Once again, action has always been one of the top-notch things about this series for me, and I think they did a great job in this one, to be completely honest. Um, yeah, I think that's all I can go. I kind of did some breakdown, but I want to go into a more in-depth breakdown here. So let's go ahead and start with that. So once again, we start at the crab planet, uh, and once again, I love all these different characters. I mean, I know there can be a complaint that it pretty much reduces them into single dimensional characters, but it doesn't. They do seem to have certain amount of depths. They just have parts of their personalities which are enhanced and they lean upon, but they're more complex characters than I think just what a one-dimensional like complaint says about them. But yeah, I love how the plan was to get this thing without waking any of the crab people. Um, and yet Record entirely does that. He wakes all of them up. And man, yeah, they are all over the place. They are chasing. They are blocking blaster shots with their claws. I mean, this is a smart species, whatever it is. Um, and then another bunch of them go and attack the ship. I mean, I like how it sort of establishes even the crabs as like intelligent, like an intelligent civilization. Like these may just be crabs, but they know their shit. They know their planet, and they definitely know how to, take on invaders. Um, but yeah, you have the whole rope scene, which I'm just like, your hand should be spaghetti. Like there should be like no hand on your palms and just like strips of flesh hanging off your fingers. There's no way that should have worked like that, with no gloves even. Um, so little nitpick things like that kind of were just like, come on, guys. She already is coming off as more competent, more assured of herself, and definitely more of an asset rather than a hindrance to the team. But you don't need to like go on trying to make her like this physics whatever thing, defying entity. So yeah, they get back. It looks really, it's cool, but it's kind of funny at the same time. They go up with the package, get reeled in. So anyway, they go back, talk to Sid, and she has a new mission for them in which they are going to go to Castle Sereno. which was, for those who remember, Count Dooku's old residence on his planet that his family ruled. And we find out it's where he put all the war chest that he had to fight against the Republic with this separatist army. And Hunter doesn't want to do it. You know, it's dangerous, and I get it. I mean, it is a Imperial occupied planet, high value apparently. You find out later that it was bombarded to hell and gone. Like the city's gone. Like the whole main city is completely obliterated. You don't know what happened to people. Either they died or they all got sent elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, once again, it establishes that the Empire they're not good people. They're very, very quick to dispatch judgment upon anyone who opposes them, which is largely why people were just like, screw this. But anyway, on their way there, there's this talk between Echo and Hunter. You know, Echo was just like, I know why you're doing this, but we should be doing more. And Hunter's just like, she shouldn't be growing up like that. We should be fighting. But Hunter doesn't want her to grow up that way. And then Echo, as cruel as it is true, says that our lives are this way because of Omega. And that is very true. She is wanted by the Empire. There is no way for them to keep her safe at all times. There's no way she's going to have a normal, childhood or whatever. I mean, to be fair, her twin brother didn't, and he's out there in the galaxy somewhere, a small boy, but he somehow managed to pull off a lot. So she definitely has, she has the genes, obviously, to, be a fighter. And so while I understand where Hunter's coming from, I really side with Echo on this. And I do like the change of pace, that it's not going to be about missions anymore. It's not about, just earning a paycheck, which is just like, how much are they making? Because they've paid off their debt. They're no longer making peanuts, but I mean, apparently they are making peanuts. So once again, that aspect of it, I'm just like a little confused about. And I'm still not wholly sold on Sid, and her actually caring. Regardless, you do see AZ here. He's apparently now a bartender droid there. I'm still a little upset that they didn't do the sacrificial thing. And it seemed really pointless, other than just to point out, hey, he's alive and working, and, serves no further purpose to this episode, other than to be just like, hey, I'm here. And it's, yeah, but it is what it is. So they head there. The Empire's already transporting the massive war chest. So they've apparently looted everything. And there are 3 huge transport ships with massive amounts of cargo units on them. And inside these cargo units are huge boxes filled with gold bars, gems, jewels, credits. It's massive. So they go in, and immediately they have to take out a guard, which comes into play later. Once again, they're still doing the whole stun thing. At this point, which is kind of weird, because they're using actual conscripts at this point. So I'm not sure if it was established sometime in the previous season. I don't think so. But how much of the army was actually conscripts to actually how many were still clones? Because if it was still clones, then part of this does not make sense, which I'll get into. And if they were conscripts, then them wanting to just stun gun away, uh, it's a little pointless because the whole point of them stunning is they don't want to kill any of their brothers, because that's essentially what they all are to each other. Um, when they can just stun them because they're being controlled or whatnot. Um, but anyway, so the trooper doesn't report in. Uh, so while they're trying to figure it out, they pull the distraction, and the distraction is I believe it was Hunter who put two explosive devices on a couple of ships. They go up, they're in flames, and these troopers are literally like no less than no less than 6 feet away, maybe 10 feet at most. Like they're close to these ships, get knocked down, and then they immediately get back up, and I'm just like, you should not be getting up that fast. You're lucky to even be alive, but all right. So once again, just certain things where I'm just like, come on, guys, you can do better than that. But yeah. So anyway, Omega, Wrecker, no, not Wrecker, Omega, because Wrecker, he's able to take one out just by himself, but Tech and, oh my gosh, what is the, oh my gosh, I feel so dumb. Echo. Man, I feel so dumb. I just sort of blanked out there. I apologize. But yeah, Omega, Echo, and Tech get trapped on the container, and Wrecker and Hunter get stuck on the outside. They can't get out. They try to go up, and they can't get in. So Wrecker and Hunter have to essentially drop onto Dooku's palace, and they get in, and you see this beautiful shot of Dooku's main throne room. It's actually amazing. Like if you remember the scenes of that place from Clone Wars, it's just like, oh, this is so cool. And it was. They did an amazing job with the scenery and still making it look unique, as you remember it, but at the same time derelict, because the war's been over for a few years, and obviously the city has been horribly bombarded, destroyed, people killed, I can only imagine, and the palace looted. So they go in there, they're going in there. The other three are trying to get out through the escape pods, and they're just like, the Imperials who are controlling the ship, they launch them all, so they cannot get off. So they have to go and essentially do a release of the pods to get out, because she remembers that it's a class, I think it's a class 3 or class 5, something like that, but to where the cargo containers have re-entry jets, so it should slow the fall and they should be fine. And so they go and do that. At the same time, Wrecker and Hunter are battling out in Dooku's throne room. They find the lift. Everyone should know about this lift. But yeah, the control panel gets jammed. So Wrecker just jumps and jumps, and they go down. half expect a Wilhelm scream. Maybe it is mixed in there with the scream there, but it was fun, funny. I enjoyed it. And then the other three, they managed to get into a container. They launch it. The whole thing just pours out. You see all these containers just going from the ship before it leaves the atmosphere and dropping into the surface of Sereno. And as they're falling, they're just like, where are the reentry jets? And they should have gone off. And so you see them falling, and that is where it cuts off. And I realized I didn't give this thing a rating before I went into the episode breakdown. So, yeah, that's where we end, is a cliffhanger. What did I ultimately think of this episode? I'm sorry it took me to the end of the video to get there. I should have done it at the end of the first, like, just the episode main review without breaking down the episode. But honestly, I think this one gets, for me, I'm thinking between 7 and 8. I want to go for 8 because, once again, the things that drove me crazy about Omega were still there, but they were less prevalent. She seemed like more as part of the crew, and while they still kind of made her a little bit more awesome than I think she earned in a couple different things, it wasn't as obvious. And I like how we're actually having, like, the Bad Batch in action still, you know, especially when you have, like, 2 of them doing their thing and the other 3 doing their thing. So I think it works better. I like that she finally has a helmet, because that's kind of silly that she'd be in anything that involves action or shooting or whatever and she not have one. It was kind of weird the first season, I'm not going to lie. I did like the action. I loved the scenery. And I like the humor most of all. So honestly, this episode really ended on a high note for me. This one I'm going to give an 8. So really strong. I really hope I'm not being overly generous with this one, and it deserved a 7, but I'm giving this one an 8 because I did actually enjoy this. It actually made me interested on what the show is going to be, because, I mean, after how meh season 1 was, I was worried about season 2, but this one came in strong. I'm a little upset it ended at a cliffhanger, but I'm excited to see episode 2. Well, anyway, that is my review for The Bad Batch season 2 episode 1, The Spoils of War. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.